Hello everybody, this is the Quackcast. I'm Ozone Ocean. Of course, this is the Drunkduck Quackcast. I'm Ozone Ocean. With me is Tance and Baines. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Oh, hello. So, we're going to have to introduce our theme music now. So, theme music. Our theme music, of course. So we are starting now. This is Drunkduck Quackcast, and we'll have to introduce the featured comic now and our topic for today. So our topic for today is intelligence in fiction. That's it. I remember it now. My brain is slowly coming online. Yes, intelligence in fiction. But before we do that, we have to bring up the featured comic. A featured comic this week was a feature that Quai came up with, and it was Cafe Strange. So Quai, please tell us about Cafe Strange now.
Hello, this is Quai Degatse, and the feature I've selected for this week is Cafe Strange by Sinwells, and it is rated T for teen. Edward, also known as Lydia's minion Renfield, is an employee of Lydia Lestrange, the sometimes loopy owner of the establishment Cafe Lestrange. Haru, a prospective employee, wakes up bright and early for an interview, only to be met with a flying high kick. Lydia was once a powerful vampire, but has since replaced the blood habit with copious amounts of blood substitute and highly caffeinated coffee. The art uses a simplified white, black, and medium gray color gradient, drawn in vertical 3 to 4 panel strip format. Watch Lydia and Renfield pick out the cafe's official employee uniform and read Cafe Strange by Sinwells, rated T.
And that was Quai Degatse with Cafe Strange. Thank you, Quai. Very much appreciated. You're always good. All right, so next up we have a theme by Gamas. He has come up with a theme based on a comic, and I'm going to tell you about that now. This week, Galmalis has given us a theme inspired by Gamma Blue Smouldering of Creel, Heavy Rocking Fire. This is a hammer forging red-hot steel on an anvil, rhythmically pounding it into shape, slamming into it with thunderous blows, drawing out the metal into a brutal sword of pure rock. So take it away, Galmalis, with your theme to Gamma Blue Smouldering of Creel. That was our theme by Gumwallers. Thank you. Which was, of course, Gamma Blue Smouldering of Creel, which was a comic by Ode Bear, and it's rated E for everyone. Alright, so, now, intelligence in fiction. Guys, let's see, why did we even come up with this topic? Well, we were actually having a chat about after our Quackcast last week, and we were just sort of running on and on and on. And then we decided, oh my God, why isn't this a Quackcast? Why we have to stop talking about this now because we're going to do a Quackcast about it. So yes, what was our big conversation? I think it was based on around the depiction of intelligence in Bones. That was a good example.
Yeah.
But of course, there's lots of other examples. But maybe we'll just reiterate that to start because that's a good starting point. And my brain isn't really awake enough to have be aware of everything. So we'll start very small and then we'll work big. That's a good way of doing it. Okay. Right then. Yes, intelligence and fiction. Well, all right. So we just did our Patreon video and we talked about it there. Started out. So great examples of intelligence in fiction and the way it sort of gets a bit exaggerated is, of course, in murder mysteries and stuff like that, with a popular way of depicting serial killers as being super duper duper intelligent, more intelligent than everyone else. And this is a massive trope. It's it's not it doesn't reflect reality. It's just something that exists in fiction. It's like spies in spy fiction. Spies, they're Superman and they can do parkour and handle any gun and drive any machine or whatever, use any weapon, but that's not reality. Spies are specialized in, one thing or another thing, and they have, maybe one of those missions in their entire lives. So that's the highlight. It's not every single time, and, they haven't got the skills to do everything. And it's like, so that trope of the James Bond only exists in fiction and nowhere else. It's like the super intelligent serial killer only exists in fiction and can never exist in reality because all those things don't line up for a person. So we think the examples of why that was created was because there were two very intelligent, well, not very intelligent, there were two people who were known for being slightly above average on the IQ scale, which was Jeffrey Dahmer and Ted Bundy, these two American serial killers. And, they're not super intelligent guys by any means. They wouldn't be serial killers if they were. But psychopaths as well. People think psychopaths are super intelligent. And those two factors, they're not... There's no real correlation between those things. But yeah, so Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer, slightly above average on the intelligence scale. And then pop culture just run with that and exaggerated. So serial killers in fiction are depicted as, with those two as a base, but also the Moriarty Sherlock Holmes battle of wits intelligence battle. That's another thing that sort of is used in pop culture as well, because you have your genius detective who can just magically work out anything because they're so intelligent, versus someone who is of equal wit, because you have to have matching skills in order for it to be exciting. Because as Tant said in our Patreon video, it's no fun if the super intelligent person, being the detective, can outwit always the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'd have to make your hero either an amateur detective or dumb.
Yeah.
Which would actually be pretty good, wouldn't it?
That can work, but it won't work if you have a professional detective. Obviously, you can't really make that make sense.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You can't have the dumb professional detective that thinks they know everything. Like, they are mostly blinded by their own conceitedness, in a sense, and then you have the spry upcoming new detective that sees things differently and gets totally always overruled by the senior detective who is being an idiot, which
Right.
has some truth to fiction, in the sense that there have been certain cases where you had detectives have tunnel vision, trying to confirm a theory that they created about the crime, which was totally wrong in relation to what actually happened. So they went even out of their way to construct evidence and fabricate evidence and plant evidence and lie their way into fooling a person to confess, blah, blah, blah.
I think that happens a lot of the time.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, sadly.
But I'm talking like really egregiously, to the point that when it comes out in the open, the department has to pay millions, that sort of thing.
Right.
So yeah, that
Yeah.
could happen.
That does happen a lot.
It could and does. It's harder. I mean, it's one of those things in reality that's harder to pull off in fiction because it's harder to like. It would be a lot harder to like those detectives in fiction.
Yeah. Usually you root for the young guy that knows better.
Well, sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
It can be fun
You're
because you can do that, and then you can turn that on its head. So the young guy seems to know better, and the old guy has just come up with his thing, and then it turns out that the young guy is totally off base, and the old guy was right all along. So,
Yeah, that also could be good. I mean, depending on what you want to show and everything. I mean, you could have the young guy be fooled by, the suspect in ways that the seasoned one isn't.
yeah, there's a great British series called DL and Pascoe. I have never watched the TV version, but I did listen to the radio play version, and that was like that. There's the young, smart, up-and-coming guy who seemed to be, he was more kind of woke and more worldly, and he had these clever ideas. And the old guy who seemed like really sexist and old-fashioned and stuck in the mud. But it turned out the old guy knew what was going on all along, and the young guy was getting, blinded by all the different sidetracks and red herrings. So it's possible to do.
Yeah. I mean, sky's the limit. Depends on what you want to show and who your real main character is in a sense. Or you could have both be main characters and be each other's foil, and they could both be somewhat wrong and somewhat right. And they have to combine their views to get it right.
Yes,
so there's also
strength and weakness. Yeah, people shoring each other up. Well, okay. My example of Bones was good because they have, like, everyone is very meant to be super intelligent in that one, in any field they're in. So we have the FBI guy who's super intelligent at being an FBI guy. You've got the person who's expert at bugs. Hodges, who's expert at, micro stuff.
The dirt thing.
Yeah, dirt and bugs and
Dirt
slime.
bugs.
Then
And
you've got Carly, who's an expert at, working out causes of death from flesh wounds. And Bones, who's an expert at working out stuff from injuries to bone. And then you've got the Angela, who's the expert at working out
everything else.
everything else. Yes, absolutely everything. She's meant to be the artist, the more intuitive person who's meant to be the dumbest one of the group, but is actually by far the super intelligent genius computer made real, because the writers are so dumb that she becomes the Deus Ex Machina, in that she can work out anything with her
she's the enhanced feature in everything.
Yes, in everything.
I would say, and that is a good handle on the problem in depicting the intelligence. It is often conflated with expertise, and one is different from the other. You could be an expert, like know all there is to know from known knowledge in a field, which means that you would be very specialized. First of all, you wouldn't be able to know everything about everything, even in your field.
Yes.
And that does not mean that you would have the intelligence to have critical and composite thinking about it. So that is very basic, and so that is one problem that I have seen often, especially with what's the doctor? House.
Yeah.
House is supposed to be this. I mean, aside the acerbic personality and like totally toxic character interactions that are in there, he's depicted as this brilliant, super ingenious doctor who knows like the most exotic, out of this world, rare diseases at the drop of a hat. But that, like, he is not actually intelligent in the sense that he does not follow the method that an intelligent person would follow in order to do certain things. He squanders a lot of resources, is what I'm saying, and intelligent people don't do that. But that wouldn't be fun for us as viewers because we get to see, all the squibs doing. Oh, squibs is the Bones thing. All his minions anyway, going out and searching places and doing weird examinations. All of that. And the third transgressor, in my opinion, is the Sherlock Holmes trope. But where, in order to show that Sherlock Holmes or whoever is in those shoes, is intelligent, they become clairvoyant.
Yeah.
So it's not something that you can, like, a reader should be able, or a viewer, or the one who consumes the audience should be able, if they are interested and accomplished enough, should be able to deduce alongside the main character the intelligent thing. So there's like the signs should be there. And what they usually do is that the author hides, like doesn't actually give enough or any hints as to what is happening. And the super intelligent character just magics them out of, out of nothing, or announces to us what they saw, like the suit on the figures, the weird print in the mud, or whatever. All these weird indications are announced to us by the super intelligent character while we are being given the solution to the issue. So, and that is not intelligence. That is the author feeling that they are too dumb to make an intelligent puzzle. And so they camouflage this by making it seem like someone can just immediately pick up what is happening and all the rest of us cannot. But this is fabricated because we cannot do it because we have not been given the.
They've shortcutted everything in order to jump to the
BBC Sherlock Holmes is BBC Sherlock Holmes is the worst offender, the one with Cumberbatch.
Cumberbatch, yeah, Cabbage Patch. He's terrible.
Yeah.
Good old Bendy Dick Cabbage Patch. They've sort of gone like weird into this Asperger's kind of trope, this idea of depicting someone as some kind of neurological issue in order to make them like super special intelligent, because they don't think like a normal person. But that's another myth again.
They are aping a syndrome that is called the savant syndrome. It is found in people on the spectrum, usually relatively high functioning, and the thing is that they are like they invest all of their resources, of their cognitive resources, into one thing. So they are hyper specialized and able to detect a specific thing, like make a
mathematics
calculation.
or something.
Yeah. and things like that. But that's not what we like. It doesn't happen the way it does on TV.
Yeah. I mean, they can't have specialization in everything. It's like you were saying with the very intellectual people depicted as being they're a doctor or something like that, but except they're intelligent about everything, which is not the way people with doctorates function. And scientists, like you have these amazing scientists and Nobel Prize winning scientists who know a hell of a lot about one specific thing, but to get those qualifications you need to have studied massively and experimented and theorized on that tiny little narrow field. Even if you've got multiple doctorates, it's still like at most like maybe you have 4 doctorates, which is still that represents like thousands and thousands of hours of work and so much work to get those doctorates. Oh my god, and so much money and stuff like that. But it's still pinprick narrow fields that you're an expert in, and you are the biggest expert in the world on this type of microbe or these kind of function of molecules and stuff like that. But that also means you haven't been able to be an expert in anything else because you haven't got that amount of time to invest into everything in the world because people aren't immortal. So there's no such thing as an expert at everything. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you want to, let's go like, okay, so these are the wrong ways of depicting intelligence. But how do you go about writing a person that supposedly at least is smarter than you?
Well, I think you've got to, if you want to really do that sensibly, if you want to do that in a smart, intelligent way, then they're smarter than you in one field. They cannot be smarter than you in every single field. It just doesn't work. Exactly. Unless the other people are like idiots. Unless everyone else has an actual problem. They all had too much lead as children. Whatever.
So that's actually it, in the sense that a truly like an intelligent person is not a machine that constantly cranks out genius behaviors, whatever those are. They like an intelligent person is someone like, how do we define intelligence in psychology? So intelligence is the ability to process information quickly. That's all it is. Like the quicker you can process info, the more intelligent you are. And the big secret about this is that intelligence is a variable. It is not a constant. So that means this fallacy that someone is born a genius and they will remain a genius throughout life and they will be like super, no. For example, I can make someone very intelligent or very dumb on demand. Like I can make it. This is my job as a cognitive educational.
Okay, I'm starting a new show about you, Tance, the genius maker.
Oh no! What did I do? Okay. So, and why? Why is that? Because intelligence is directly linked to how much someone is, first of all, inhibited, how much they are given the tools with which to be intelligent, and how much they are given the self-confidence of actually manifesting this intelligence. So that's why, in my opinion, general psychology is like you can be like a white hat or a black hat. Like if you want, you can absolutely blip people over, or you can help them. So if you see someone who is acting dumb, that means that this person has had their intelligence hampered. Doesn't mean that they are not intelligent. It means that they have been raised in a way or are in an emotional situation or are going through certain times where they cannot afford to process things fast enough and they come across as unintelligent.
Or
Right.
hampered by drugs or alcohol.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Like, for example, scare a kid. I must have said that before, that I used to be called the psych lab scarer, because one of my senior year undergraduate thesis was that intelligence and memory are linked to fear. So I did this experiment, and lo and behold, the hypothesis found out that people remember less and can process things more slowly if they are even slightly frightened or startled or concerned about something else,
Okay.
which allocates processing power to that something else, which is incredible. So yeah, there you have it.
That's true, yeah, because when when the flight or fight thing is activated, yes, all your focus becomes on environment and narrowing down escape routes or how you should react to this thing. So all that processing power is not available. It's like when someone's turned on, it's another way of making them stupid because all their processing power, and you can't help that because that's how, like, you're biologically, like, this isn't like, oh yeah, you're turned, like, intellectually you're turned on. Like, biologically, your body, like, switches around, turns switches and all that kind of thing, and makes your focus very limited. And yeah, same as being scared or angry as well. If you're really angry, your focus is absolutely messed up, and people become so stupid when they're angry. It depends too. Some people are absolutely taken over by their anger. That might be a thing as well, Tance. Like, if the more you let anger take you over, the more your intelligence is hampered.
Yes, absolutely. Like, and that's the fascinating thing about intelligence, and why it is so unfair to people and to intelligence itself, that it is just reduced down to this uh, talent that you are born with or not born with, like, which is total bullshit. Sorry, I'm gonna say this.
I think shit has now become a Quackcast appropriate word.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
Born talent, which is another that's a trope that negatively impacts reality, because we see this in fiction and we think, oh yes, that must be true. People are born intelligent, so if you're born stupid, then you're just dumb, and that's how it is. It's how people are stuck. Baines, okay? We're talking about intelligent fiction, and we're, like, talking over Baines. But we're actually talking about like how we depict intelligence in fiction. So in your fiction, like, say, Typical Strange, I often think of TK as a really and Harley, I think it is, as being intelligent characters from Typical Strange. Is it Harley?
Oh, probably Abigail.
Abigail, of course, with the glasses. Yeah. Abigail.
Glasses on. You can tell she's smart. She's wearing glasses.
Exactly. It correlates perfectly.
Yeah, causation and correlation. And the glasses made her smart. TK also wears glasses, so there you go.
There you go. But do you write them as being more intelligent than the other characters?
They can sort of see through. Abigail can kind of see through nonsense. Oscar isn't bad at it either. When another character is getting ridiculous or being, I guess, forcefully wrong-headed about something.
Forcefully wrong-headed.
Abigail's probably the best at seeing through that. TK is probably the most clever at outfoxing people.
That's what I thought.
outthinking them. But I mean, I sort of achieved that by making most of the characters. They're very. I think they're good people, but most of them are not all that bright.
Penelope and Wade, who are your
Yes.
secret geniuses.
Well, it's a matter of degrees. Yeah. Oscar also isn't all that bright. He's pretty average. He's probably the baseline. You're
But-
slightly below and slightly above.
So yeah, you very deliberately depict people as being like points on that spectrum of intelligence, don't you?
Oh, I love that. I love in fiction, like when characters are different degrees of smart. Even your favorite character or the main character or whatever often is not the smartest one. You know.
No,
I love
exactly.
Star Trek. I got Star Trek on the brain again lately. Next Generation, where Picard is very smart, but Data is way smarter in most areas. Geordi is way smarter in most areas. You know. So
Good
I
point.
I really love that kind of thing in fictional group dynamics. For
And
sure.
they have
Yeah.
expertise at different things too. So Data's good at processing
Yeah.
and like recalling stuff, and Geordie's good at working stuff out, and because he's an engineer, and Picard's good at leadership and knowing history and
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
so-
that's true. It's more what you said is more the way it is. Yeah, different areas of expertise.
But yeah, so you did that as well in Bottomless Waitress. So plain Jane is the baseline.
Yeah.
Polly is the smart one, and then Francis is the idiot.
Yes. And Frances is very sweet and lovable, and you'd be lucky to have her in your life, I think. Maybe not to work with her and rely on her for certain things, but to have as a friend, there'd be, I think, she would be great. All three of them would be great. But yeah, that wasn't done on purpose. But yeah, I guess so. You're right.
They do, yeah. They're little points on the spectrum. What about you, Chance? Do you have like that kind of thing in yours, or are they more kind of individual human kind of traits?
I'll be honest. I haven't really thought of them on that scale. I would say that they are all intelligent, like all of them, but they are also dumb in certain, like they are at the same time intelligent in certain areas and dumb in certain others. For example, take Bourne, the villain, or one of the villains, or one of the Nazis, the one who tortures Otis. He has intelligence in how to mess and trick his target's mind. He knows how to do that. He knows how to keep someone like completely off their feeling that they are not in control in a sense.
So he's a
However-
good interrogator.
Yeah, he's a good interrogator up until the point where he thinks he should have succeeded. He hasn't yet, and then he gets pissed off. Then he becomes dumb as a brick.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So, yeah, and also where he thinks that he is like where he thinks that he should already go into the game having won, that's where he is the dumbest. So that's Arthur, and I take the villains because usually the villains are the ones that are either super intelligent or super dumb.
Yeah.
Like Arthur is the most intelligent of the Nazis, ex-Nazi now, but he's the most intelligent. He has critical ability. He knows how to search for information. He knows how to set up a trap. He's successful. But he's super dumb in being able to see through propaganda until it is too late. Yeah, because why was he so dumb in seeing through the propaganda, not seeing what was before his very eyes? Because it is coupled with trauma that he had, with his dead brother and all of that, and his mom and everything. So that was for him a black box that he didn't actually look at. So he was extremely stupid in this area, while he was brilliant in all the others. So that's how really, more or less, how I think of my characters. Like, where are they smart and where are they dumb? Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's really worked out with depth. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
What about you, Ozzy?
in my writing, I don't even do a focus on it really. I just have people specialized in their own different things, but don't think of it in terms of intelligence. Unless I'm depicting a dumb. I don't even think I depict dumb characters. It's just everybody has the same level. that's my writing.
Yeah, I don't think anyone is.
Yeah, that seems so from your.
Yeah, I mean, I think initially so there was a PDA chapter 8, I think, where I have everyone, like, when I have an early version of Pinky, when like a part of Pinky from her past when they're in tanks instead of mecha, so she's got a little group around her, and there seems to be like that kind of Bainesian style different level of okay, so this is the dumb one, this is a smart one, and stuff like that. But as it goes on, I think you see that it's just Pinky imposing her will on everyone else. So she's sort of thinking, "Oh, you're the dumb one. You're this." So it's just her being bossy.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And yes, say demeaning her her underlings, but they're not really dumb.
Right.
Which is often how it is in reality, isn't it? I mean, you have a boss character who says, "Oh, you dumbass! Oh, it's your fault! Oh, it's your fault!" And yeah, it sort of acts as if everyone below them is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But usually, they're just people are cowed by the boss, and so they kind of it's their way of showing submissiveness by pretending they're not, as bright as they are. Do you think that happens?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that's how I depict it in that.
And yet she manages to rally people around here. Like, she actually runs a good unit in a sense. Like, they might not like her per se, but I don't think they are recalcitrant towards her. So she has that talent.
In the last chapter, yeah, very much. It's that kind of thing. She becomes more of an actual leader. She's sort of she grows into the role, pretty much. She's not focused on herself and making herself look good, and it's more about, I want this goal to be accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
So then, yeah, that's a different kind of leadership. I mean, we could even one day we could cover the topic of leadership versus bossiness.
Oh yeah,
which I think of as like, if you're bossy, then it's about you, but if you're being a leader, then it's about the goal, or it's about just wanting to lead people in order to achieve something. So I do think that is a real distinction.
Yeah,
and
so
people
like
make this mistake, think, oh,
ego satisfaction or actually wanting to accomplish.
Exactly. People make this mistake saying, oh, girls are depicted as bossy and boys are depicted as leaders. But I think bossy is a thing. Because men can be bossy.
Oh yeah, and they can be like, that is not a gender. Like, nothing is gender coded really in terms of traits. Everyone can have anything. The difference is that some bossiness in men might be construed as leadership, whereas some leadership in women might be construed as bossiness, and that, like, the prism through which behavior is interpreted could have these gender-specific differences. But if we completely toss away those prisms and we see the behavior, you can have extremely bossy men with a chip on their shoulder, and it's all about them and how they look to others. And
like Donald Trump, that's a great example.
oh my god,
Perfect. Or anyone who wants to be a dictator tends to be, it's about them.
Yes.
Like Kim Il Sung, Kim Il Jong, all those kind of people. Duterte, Putin,
Anyone and everyone.
Erdogan,
Mitsotakis.
and anyone. Yeah, anyone who's about themselves, they tend to be more bossy and not good leaders, and never very intelligent.
Yeah, and that's another thing. That's another thing. People that are followers, and that's another thing. Why most of the Nazis I have made come across as dumb in the bottom line, like stupid. And that is not because I want to depict Nazis as stupid. They are not that kind of stupid. They are the kind of stupid that people that follow cults are. So they do not have processing, like they do not have critical thinking. They have obeying orders thinking. And that is a trait. That is an actual trait. You have to turn off parts of your brain willingly in order to become part of a cult. And unfortunately, certain political parties turn into cults.
Wow.
Definitely, yeah, because what you have to do is, and religion as well, there's a lot of stuff like that where a lot of things aren't logical and they don't make sense. So you have to just turn off your brain and follow the rhetoric. Yeah. And that makes you dumber.
Yes.
Because you're doing things that aren't based on reality, they're based on rhetoric or based on policy, just because you want to be part of the group.
Yeah, and the brain is a muscle in the sense that if you stop practicing critical thinking for whatever reason, it starts to stop being easy access for you in a sense. So the less
atrophy.
Yes, thank you. The less you use your critical thinking, the less easy it is for you to use it again. So if you leave it, it leaves you in a sense. So that's why the more you turn off your brain, the more you say, okay, I will just not go there, the more you run the risk of being a person that will follow anyone who imposes themselves enough on you to convince you that they can do the thinking for you.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, there are pretty very insidious forces who are invested in diminishing critical thinking among people. It's very helpful to certain.
Yeah, and I would also say that religion, you find this a lot in religion and politics, because unfortunately the way the institutionalized religion concept is that you look for a representative of God who is going to tell you what God wants from you, whatever God that is, okay, doesn't matter. And so in essence, you have this figurehead that tells you what to think, what to do, and how to act, and you don't think for yourself how to do this. So you become dumb. It's as simple as that. And unfortunately, it is when you are in this organized religious schema or political schema or what have you, cult schema, that this happens. If you are spiritual on your own, on any dogma, you have much lower risk of this happening. So
would you connect
No, go
on. How would you connect company, like marketing and advertising and the idea, the sort of advertising ethos is to make people realize they're unhappy and then present a solution. And then this is the answer. You just have to buy this. Kind of thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Very culty.
Or take sorry, we have finished.
I was just going to say we have retail cults.
We do.
Basically. And that's why, Apple has a certain reputation and they produce very good things, but they have a very cultish following.
Yeah.
where again, and this has happened with every brand, where again you have people turning off their critical thinking, oh yeah, this must be great, must be the best because it's this brand, but they're not actually thinking, do I actually need this or want this? I'm being like encouraged to spend thousands of dollars because so
or take influencers like Andrew Tate, for example, or any influencer. Pick one, anyone, the Kardashians, I don't know, whoever, and you take the part of their following that basically worships them, and you have the same mechanism working.
People turning off their
Yes.
brains and stuff.
And that's why you get really memeable things, like things that you find on Reddit afterwards, from people saying really, really stupid things. So yeah.
Man.
Well, should we cut this short because we have to do our thing?
Yes.
Our thing.
Fascinating
because
topic,
I was
though. So much to say about it.
Yeah.
It is, but because I was stupid, I slept in and I forgot. I told everyone we have to start earlier. So yeah, unfortunately, that is the price of my stupidity. So thank you very much for listening to Quackcast number 680.
Thank you.
As a nation, and with me was Tance and Baines.
Stay smart.
Oh God, yes. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.